Hey everybody, this is Josh Paul, host of the Small Marketing Teams podcast. I'm really glad that you're checking out the show today. If you're trying to grow your business and you're not a household name or a well-funded startup, you need to do things differently, and that's what we get into on this podcast. If that's you, go ahead and click subscribe on the screen right now so that you'll get notified when we put out new tips, new tutorials, and new advice for small marketing and sales teams. When you have a compelling chat strategy built into your website, it changes that one-directional experience to a two-way conversation. Small Marketing Teams, episode 21.
You're listening to the Small Marketing Team Show with Josh Paul, the podcast where you'll learn how to achieve big growth without a big budget.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to today's session of the Small Marketing Teams Show, the podcast that marketers, salespeople, and business owners rely on to learn how to do more with less. Each week, I'll teach you how you can grow your company without the big budgets that we associate with marketing today. Whether you're the only marketer in your company, and you're also the salesperson, the CEO, and the person who does payroll, or you have a marketing team big enough to need an org chart, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Josh Paul. Let's get started. Hey everybody, I'm super excited that you're listening to today's episode of the Small Marketing Teams podcast. I just walked away from presenting to the Phoenix HubSpot User Group on how to create chatbots in HubSpot. The title of the presentation was how to create a chatbot in HubSpot that turns website visitors into sales conversations in your sleep. Because when you're a small marketing team, you're looking for those evergreen systems that you can put a lot of work into once that will just run with the occasional maintenance and occasional attention on your end, but will just run to get you found, to bring people down the funnel, to connect people with sales and create those sales conversations. So that this topic is near and dear to my heart. I really love what HubSpot has built into their platform. There's a lot of really good chat tools out there like Drift as well. But I love having the chat technology built into your marketing database and your sales database, all pulling from the same data without having to do any integrations, and make sure that the data that you need is passing between two platforms. It's all in one platform. So what I wanted to do today is share with you some of the takeaways from this conversation that I had with the HubSpot User Group so that you can develop your chat strategy, your chatbot strategy, without running into some of the roadblocks that that's stopping a lot of companies right now. So my goal for this, and the goal for the presentation, the teaching that I just did, is to give you confidence and the blueprint to create smarter, more impactful chatbots in HubSpot. Now, when we're talking about chatbots, you can build chatbots in other technology. You can build it on Facebook. What we're talking about are those little pop-ups that show up on your website that say, hey, do you want to chat with somebody? Or hey, do you have a question? So we're talking about on-site, on your website, chat functionality. And we're going to talk about and when I'm sharing with you how to develop a sound strategy, this applies to any of those other platforms. But on this particular day, I was teaching the Phoenix HubSpot User Group. So let's start by level setting each other and talking about how conversational marketing is different than traditional inbound marketing. With a traditional website, people land on your website and they need to dig for the information that they're looking for. They need to browse and click and follow your navigation to find the answers that they're looking for. It's a very one-way experience. You make your website visitors find the information that they're seeking on their own. When you have a compelling chat strategy built into your website, it changes that one-directional experience to a two-way conversation. You can find out exactly what your website visitors need and then guide them to the answers. Whether that answer is on your site, whether it's an additional resource, or whether it's connecting with somebody at your company. And in this conversation, I focused on chat bots versus live chat. To the end user, it looks very similar. But the reason I want to talk about the chat bot, the automated part of your chat strategy, is because it takes that one-on-one conversation. It allows you to scale it without having to hire more people or dedicate more resources or add headcount. Another way that conversational marketing is different than what you typically think of when you think about inbound marketing and being helpful and providing content and educating your market. One of the ways that adding a chat strategy is different is that it's a better opportunity to build trust and relationships and connections. You just can't do that regardless of how many videos you put on your website and how well designed your website is. This takes it to the next level because you are interacting with somebody and able to give them feedback and cues and answers that is specific to what they're looking for. So you're building that trust throughout the conversation. They're starting to form a relationship with your company and somebody at your company. And then at the end of it, they walk away having a connection that they didn't have before. When they go to the other 100 websites that they're going to visit that afternoon, they are not going to have the same connection that they were able to build with your company. There are some buyers that come to your website that know exactly what they're looking for and they don't need any information. They're going to go straight to that page and make the purchase or request the demo or download the resource that they're looking for. But that's only a small percentage of the people that come to your website. Most people don't have all the answers when they come to your website. That's why they're taking time out of their day to come to your website to begin with. It very much mirrors the buying experience that people want to have in the live world. When you're walking into a store, when you're walking into Best Buy, when you're walking into an independent bookstore, when you're walking into a Tesla showroom, you don't have all of the answers at that point. So you need to talk to somebody. You want to browse, and then you want to ask specific questions. They're going to help you get to your answer and get the information you need and get to the destination that you're looking for faster. So conversational marketing is a way of bringing that onto your website and creating a better customer experience, a better buying experience for people because it more closely mirrors how people want to buy in person. So let's get into how to plan your strategy. I have 2 rules for planning your chatbot strategy. Rule number 1 is that your chatbot is not extra. It's not something other. It's not something on the side. It is part of your overall funnel or flywheel strategy. If you've been following HubSpot and following the inbound movement, some people are still using funnels. Some people are using the new flywheel concept. Either way, it's baked into how you move people down your process to become customers and then become delighted customers and then become advocates for you in the market. It is baked into your strategy. This is going to save you time. It's not something that you need to think about as above and beyond. If you have steps in your strategy today, steps in your funnel that you need to move people down, if you need to turn website visitors into leads, if you need to turn leads into marketing or sales qualified leads and opportunities and then customers, your chatbot is going to be a tool you use to do that. It's not something extra. Think about it as woven into your strategy and into what metrics you need to move today. Rule number 2 is that conversational marketing and chatbots require traffic. If you're not getting traffic to your website today, you shouldn't be focused on building a chatbot or a conversational marketing strategy until you have a plan to get people to your website. And there are several different ways to slice the traffic that you could be getting. There's unknown browsers to your website. People who are hitting your website who you don't know who they are. They're coming for the first time. They haven't converted on anything on your website. Then there's the known people. These are people who are in your system. They're coming back to your website. It could be customers. It could be leads, but people who you are tracking as they move around your website and you know who they are and you have their contact information. Then there's people who are targeting specific resources. So your blog could have a different chatbot. You can run traffic to a downloadable resource like a cheat sheet or a checklist or a webinar and have a specific chatbot on those pages as well. And there's account-based marketing, where account-based marketing traffic is where you have a pool of companies, let's say 100 companies, and you want to get in front of certain people at that company. So you create a path for them that's specific to that company. The messaging is specific, the resources are specific, the calls to action are specific, and then you can have a specific chatbot on those pages that you're driving people to that is geared towards connecting with that company, showing that you know that company, and then bringing them down that funnel. And what I'm getting at here is that you can create, and you should create, different chatbots for different places in your marketing and sales strategy. The conversation you have with an unknown browser is going to be different than a sales qualified lead who's coming back to your site and visiting your product page. And that's going to be different than somebody who's researching their problem on your blog. And that's going to be different than somebody who you're running an account-based marketing campaign to try to connect them with a salesperson and get into that sales conversation. Those are your high-value targets right there. Now I want to give you a simple strategic framework for planning your chatbot. Now that you know that you're going to need different chatbots at different places on your website, let's dive into what it's going to take to plan one of those chatbots. This is my chatbot canvas that I use. It's very simple, but it's going above and beyond what most people think through when they're building their chatbot. And it gives you the next steps that you need to take so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. And you don't need to make sure that you've checked all the boxes. And most importantly, you don't miss anything. So let's get into it. This framework is really easy to remember. It's who, what, when, where, and how. Let's start with who. Who will this chatbot target? Will it target people who you don't know? Will it target people who are MQLs in your system? Will it target customers? It could be any of those. There's no wrong answer, but you do need to document who this chatbot is going to target. Because when you think this through on a layman's level or a business level, that is going to help you manifest it and bring it to life in your technology platform. Next is what? What actions would you like this audience to take? What is the goal of this chatbot? Is it to get people to sign up for an event? Is it to get them to book with a sales specialist, book a time with a sales specialist? Is it to get them to download a certain resource on your website that will then nurture them and get them connected in a sales conversation? So that's who and what. Next is when. When would you like this chatbot to appear? On their first visit to the site? On the second visit? After they've taken a specific action? When would you like this chatbot to show up for them? Next is where. On which pages would you like this chatbot to display? Do you want it to display on your home page, or just your product pages, or a page for a specific landing page or resource, or just your blog, or your partner pages, or your customer portal? Where would you like this chatbot to display? And then the most important one, and the one that you're going to have to go into the most depth on, is how. How are you going to use the chatbot options to get people to achieve this goal? The goal that you indicated in the what section. What actions would you like people to take? What is the goal? How are you going to use the chatbot? What is the conversation? What is the language? How are you going to lead them through while building trust, giving them value, and so that they stick with you until you're able to bring them down your funnel? If you're looking for this chatbot canvas, you can go to the show notes at smallmarketingteams.com for this episode. This is going to be episode 21, and you're going to be able to get the slides from my HubSpot User Group presentation and build chatbots yourself using this framework. Now, I want to wrap up with some common pitfalls of building chatbots and how to avoid them, and then we'll get into some takeaways. These are things that I've seen companies do and that I've done myself and learned the hard way. And I want to share them with you so that you don't have to go through the same pain and you can get to your goals faster. So 4 common pitfalls. The first one is creating a one-size-fits-all chatbot. As we talked about, you're going to create different chatbots for different points in your flywheel and your funnel and for different audiences. You also don't want to chatbot in a vacuum. Chatbotting in a vacuum means that you're having conversations with people that are not part of bringing them down the funnel or deflecting support or getting them to take action in a transactional type chatbot, but something extra. And you don't want a chatbot in a vacuum. It has to be woven into your existing marketing and sales funnels. The third common pitfall that I see is going live too early. You see, chatbots are just a piece of your puzzle. They qualify people and find out who you're talking to and help you route the conversations in the right place to the right resources. And one of the places you can direct them to is a live agent, a live person behind the chat appliance, so that you can do the handoff and they can talk to somebody live to get more specifics or connect them in a deeper way. But if you go live too early, you're going to end up wasting people's time. Your live agents are going to get overwhelmed with unqualified conversations. Even if it's a chatbot that's dealing with existing customers, you want to be able to take care of a lot of issues and route people in the right direction to a great extent before you connect them with a live person. So you want to set up qualification and routing questions before connecting people to a live agent. And the fourth pitfall that I see is a big one, and that is creating dead ends. Once people have made the micro commitments and their trust is growing, you want to create additional engagement opportunities until they choose not to take them. Chatbots can get complicated really quickly, especially as you build out options for people and they're choosing between those options. You need to be able to take them to a place, whether it's a resource or connect them with a live person or have them book a time with a sales person, point them to a page on the website. One of the things that I've done on my chatbots is connected people to my Facebook group, the Small Marketing Team Secrets Facebook group. And that's actually an endpoint that I use in a lot of cases when somebody is not qualified or not ready to talk to a salesperson right then. I say, well, great. Have a good day. Oh, one more thing. If you want to get some additional resources on this and find out some specific tips and join the conversation around what you're looking for, I'd like to invite you to join my Facebook group. Here's the link. You can join for free today, and it takes them right there. So I have those endpoints, those ways to end these conversations that without a dead end, without not having an answer for them. And I use those in a lot of different situations. So you have to be prepared for those and have those in your back pocket. So the chatbot itself, I'm not going to get into that today, but I want to talk about 4 components that you're going to need to think through. And we'll save this for another episode. But the first is the welcome message. That's your hook. That's what needs to get their attention. And you don't want to start with, how can I help you? There's a lot of chatbot technology, including HubSpot, where out of the box, if you just turn on the chatbot, that's the first thing. That's an open-ended question. I would not recommend starting with an open-ended question, because that means you need a live person on the other end to field it, or you need to have your back end structured in a way, because most chat technology is not using AI yet, but you have to have your back end structured in a way that looks for certain words and has to be built out to such an extent that it recognizes specific phrases and words and continues the conversation in a natural way. So I would not make an open-ended welcome message. I would force people to make a choice. Are you here because you know what you're looking for, or are you here because you know the problem you're trying to solve? And that starts the conversation, starts them making choices so that you understand better what they're trying to do and can direct them in the right direction. So that hook needs to be compelling. It can't be boring, or else you're not going to get much usage out of your chatbot. After that welcome message comes the first question. And the first question has to be equally as compelling. That's where they're making the choice. After that are the actions, and those are all of the options that you have. Chatbots can start automation workflows. They can book meetings with people. They can change data in your system. They can write data to your system. They can connect to a live agent. The possibilities are endless if you gather the right information about that user. And then the last component are micro commitments. These are small things, yes or no questions, or small questions that they can answer that show that they're still engaged and start building trust with the chatbot agent that they're working with. So I ended this presentation I gave with 4 takeaways, and I want to share those with you today. The first is start simple. You want to identify a 1 or 2 or 3 step process that you can manifest in a chatbot in your HubSpot system or your Drift system or your other chat system, and start testing it. You'll get a feel very quickly for what it'll do, how much traffic you'll get, and how people are going to interact with it. But start simple. Once you add branches, this is my other takeaway. Once you add branches, it gets complex very fast. Once you start saying, all right, of these 5 options, which one sounds like you? That means for each of those 5 options, you need to have a route that they go down that is still relevant, that is still engaging, and still provides value. That gets complex very, very quick. The third takeaway is that it's all about the hook. That welcome message and that first question, that is what's going to get them engaged. So spend a lot of time testing and figuring out the hook and the welcome message and the welcome message and the first question that are going to compel them to act, that is relevant to them. And sometimes, as I pointed out in the meeting, sometimes it doesn't necessarily have to get to the heart of the matter that you're trying to help them with. The Super Bowl just wrapped up. And so one of the chatbots I was building last week started with the question, who are you hoping won the Super Bowl, the Patriots or the Rams? And it just got people's attention. And then regardless of what they answered, the chatbot answers, oh, me too, just because you want to be in agreement with them. But it's all about the hook. And then the last takeaway is to add human elements. I wouldn't go as far as adding misspellings, because that can hit your credibility. One of the tactics that I use is, I call it a double chat. It's where I ask them a question and then I restate the question. I clarify the question. If I'm asking them about their goals, I'll say, what is your highest priority? And then right below it, chat right away, say, in other words, which metric is most important that you move right now. So that just shows an element of humanness. You want to use tokens, incorporate their first name every once in a while. You want to use human language, not robot questions. Like, great, super, thanks for that info. Let me check on that. So the takeaways: start simple. It's all about the hook, adding human elements, and branches add complexity fast. So that's kind of an abbreviated version of what I taught to the HubSpot User Group recently. It was so much fun. It was a very engaging conversation. We did a live chatbot build right there in the session. It was so much fun. And if you guys have any questions about this strategy or this framework, definitely check out the show notes. But then I'm also post in the Small Marketing Team Secrets Facebook group. I'd love to have a conversation about what's working, what's not, what you've tested, what you've tried, because that's really the only way that we're all going to get this right, is by learning from each other. And so that's all I have for you guys today. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you online.